I just wanted to talk about yesterday and, you know, um, what I'm thinking today about everything. And hopefully people are open to hearing from me. Um, you know, I feel like I responded like hastily to what was being sent to me by people. They sent me Crama reels with, well, actually the night prior, I was on the panel with Queen Bee for a little bit, and Steve Fisher came in and she asked him if he wanted to come up. He didn't come up that night, the night before. And then the next day I got someone sent me the Crama reels, which is just the quote, just the video of Steve talking and Queen Bee saying whatever, and he's saying, whatever you have, put it out now. And Queen Bee saying, yeah, Julie, just put it out, and then he posted on his X something similar, right? And I reacted hastily, something I shouldn't have. I should have sat and thought about it, because it was information I didn't feel was relevant to Sebastian.
Well, it wasn't even real information, man.
It wasn't.
Hold on. Respectfully, it's straight bullshit. Hold on. And on top of that, instead of coming out and making a direct apology for putting out someone as a sex offender,
I didn't thought it was a sex offender. That was Steve.
Listen, whatever you want to say, you put the man out here as someone that he wasn't. And instead of coming out here and just straight out saying, you know what, I apologize wholeheartedly, I am sorry for what I did, it's excuses on everybody else's fault, Julie. And I know that you understand, at least it seems like you understand things within the autistic community, right? And what's one of the first things we're taught when we're developing our people skills is that when we mess up, we have to step up and take accountability for that. We don't make excuses. We live and we learn. And ma'am, if you're going to be an advocate, and I'm watching you as someone who has autism, I fully expect you to do the same thing that we're taught to do and stand up and take accountability for your own actions. Respectfully.
I'm respectfully answering back that I'm trying to.
But you doubled down, Julie, respectfully. You doubled down. And not only did you put SF at risk and his career, you kept doubling down. And I think that you got way ahead of yourself without thinking about anything you were saying.
To be honest with you, I don't even give a shit about all this. I'm going to speak to you from one person to another, Julie, real talk. You are making the autistic community look really bad, ma'am. And I mean that with everything in my heart. And I know that's not what you want to do. I know you have a love for the community and I know your heart's there, but I am being as brutally honest as I can. You are setting us back 10 years with these acts that you're doing on social media while standing and being an advocate for the community that I belong to, that I've dealt with my entire life, that I've fought against the system my entire life to be accepted. And the way that you are acting is absolutely putting shade on the autistic community because you are so loudly representing us. And it's just not a good feeling, and I don't like it. Person to person, this isn't an internet thing. This is you are hurting my community.
Well, on that part of it, I don't think so. But
ma'am, I'm telling you,
you're entitled to your feelings. You're entitled to your feelings. I have to speak for. I'm speaking for a child.
But you're not autistic. You can't speak for us, ma'am. You cannot speak for us. You can speak for us as a caregiver, someone who has learned about what the dynamics of autism are. But you're not autistic. So please stop acting like you know how we think and how we feel, because you don't, ma'am. You don't. And I know this because I watch you all the time. I tried to like you. I tried to respect you, but you have taken our community and stomped on it, ma'am. And that really hurts my heart for someone who has lived this for my entire life. You are hurting our community with this nonsense. And if you care about our community, please take a step back and consider what your actions are doing for the autistic community.
Okay. What I say is that I speak for not the autistic community, and I don't speak for people who can speak for themselves. My name of my channel is Profound Autism. And I'm talking about the profound autism community, which is a community of people, parents or caregivers of people who cannot speak, who cannot advocate for themselves. I would never try to speak for people who can speak for themselves.
But when you say you're an autistic advocate, you're not narrowing that down. You're talking about...
No, I very narrow it down. I have many videos where I say, I don't speak for people who can speak for themselves. I have 2 children who are autistic. I have a level 1 son and I have a profoundly autistic son. I don't speak about the struggles of my level 1 son. I don't talk over him.
No one can correct you. The ones who can't,
my profoundly autistic child who can't,
right? Because they can't correct you, ma'am. That's why they can't correct your bullshit, because they can't speak for themselves. I can speak.
But you feel that I'm sorry. I don't want to get upset about this, but do you feel that you could speak for my child who can't?
No, I don't try to. And that's the point. I don't try to. We're all different.
But then who should talk for him?
Someone who's going to speak truth. Someone who's going to come out here and represent themselves as a respectful human being that doesn't accuse innocent people of vicious crimes and horrible crimes. Someone that doesn't attack a mother and father day in and day out. Someone who doesn't bring the traumas and dramas of their own child and put it all over social media. Someone who doesn't put the meltdown of their autistic child on social media for people to gawk at and look at. That's what, ma'am, respectfully.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You've watched multiple videos of my profoundly autistic child, correct?
I actually have watched one and was so disgusted that you put it online that no, ma'am.
So what I ask people to do is to not watch 1 or 2, but watch
you want the views.
Watch many. No. Watch many videos.
Did he give consent for you to put his meltdowns online?
Because
did he give you consent? Did he give you consent to put his meltdowns online, ma'am?
My child who is an adult, cannot give his consent.
Then don't do it. Then don't
No, you're wrong.
do it.
Listen, let me explain something. There were for years. I don't speak for the autistic community. I'm talking about my profoundly autistic child. My child who has severe intellectual disabilities. It's not like he's not the same as you. He's not the same as his brother.
He's not the same as any other autistic child. He's individual and unique.
People in the autistic community who can speak for themselves don't know my son.
Ma'am, respectfully, I don't know if you know your son.
I mean, Truth seems to not like and trust me because of my videos and things I've talked about regarding autism. And I would only ask Truth to watch more videos about my son, me talking about my son, issues about profound autism and my child, because I would like people to see him as a whole person and not define him by his disability, because he is a person with interest and is lovable. And if you would please, I'm just asking to please watch him and understand, why I feel like it's important, because there are people who used to, at the time, tell parents of kids like mine, your kid will never get better. I know I'm a lot older than you, but your kids will never get better. Put them in an institution and forget you have a child. And it's because our kids went unseen.
Truth, I would like to hear you have the conversation of autism with Julie. I respect what you say, and I agree with what you say. I do think she did exploit her child, and I'll tell you to your face, Julie, is not able to speak for himself.
My autistic child cannot speak for himself, so there's no one to speak for him, if not the person who knows him better than certainly people who never met him.
Yes, but YouTube don't need to know anything about your child, with all due respect. Thank you for having me up first.
Okay,
sorry, again, Truth, I didn't mean to come in disrespectfully.
You're all right, Betty. You're all right.
Okay, I shall see you later. Bye.
Bye.
And know that y'all were right. This was about a different subject. I just haven't had a chance to talk to Julie, and that's just, if y'all know, y'all see my show, y'all know that I talk about it quite often. And it's not that I have a problem with her, spotlighting those who can't speak for themselves within the community. My problem lies in showing meltdowns and emotional, situations that just shouldn't be put out there at the respect level of your son. And that's my personal opinion, and that's where I stand on that.
And all I would ask, Truth, is that you please, even you said you don't want to watch anymore, but
no, it broke my heart to see him having that meltdown. It broke my heart that people sat and laughed at that. It broke my heart at the comments in that, and it broke my heart that you're right. He can't tell you, Mom, please don't post that. That will embarrass me, because he can't.
Right, but he's not embarrassed by his behavior.
You don't know that.
He does his behaviors every single place we go. He cannot mask his behaviors.
Well, respect. Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't think that putting on social media for people to look at is appropriate. That's my personal.
You're also not a profound autism family, part of a profound autism family.
Your son doesn't live. Respectfully, no, hold on. Respectfully, he doesn't even live in your home, and there's a difference. If it's like, I understand what you're doing. I understand that you're trying to help. I don't question.
Does your 21-year-old child live in your home that you have to care for 24/7?
If I was going to be someone who ran an entire social media on his back, then yes, ma'am, I would.
Right. I've been on this. I've been on social media talking about my son for many years.
Listen, Julie, can I just say one thing, hon? And all due respect, I can't imagine what it's like to have a child in a position like that. I can't imagine. When my kid has a cold, I lose my shit, okay? At the end of the day, I think everybody respects what you're going through. You got to keep that over there and not drag all of this other shit with it. Does that make sense? It's like you're mixing your son's content with FF content, with Sebastian content.
Listen, please.
And I'm not trying to take away your experiences.
I'm just begging you, okay? Don't watch one video of my son and then say you know what he feels or who he is or what our relationship is about.
Saying that.
No,
I'm not saying that.
Please watch more videos, please. Can you do that for Spencer's sake or for?
Can you for Spencer's sake not put? Can you, for Spencer's sake, please not put his meltdowns on the internet anymore? And maybe people would be more willing to look at your videos about it, because the uncomfortability. Okay, so no matter what I say, you have a reason. All right.
No, I don't think it's inappropriate, because Spencer has meltdowns everywhere we go. I mean, if I'm in a grocery store, he melts down. People don't know how to react to it. And there's a lot of parents of kids with profound autism who are often shamed, and people who don't know how to help or make the situation worse when our child is melting down in public by getting in their face.
I'm gonna be honest with you, the tears don't work over here. They don't.
There's no representation of us. There's no information. There's no place for us to gather.
Hey, Julie. That's why you made a channel, though. So keep it just that. Take all the other bullshit out of it. Because why?
Just to make sure that I'm understanding, because I can be slow sometimes. Is what you're saying essentially about the autism thing, that because the profound autism and the behavior is such a normal, everyday part of his actions, that you're showing it not to make a spectacle of it, but to almost try to normalize it, so that when people see it, if that happens, folks don't freak out or think something's wrong, or they understand how to behave better. And
it's for two reasons. It's for what you just said, which is because people often make the situations worse.
Mm-hmm.
Call the police on our kids.
Wow.
I'm not. This is.
It's a shit show.
This is the way this is being represented is not okay right now, and I'm going to take that stand. And y'all can be mad at me. Y'all can say what you want to, but this right here is horse shit.
You don't think
And
people call the police on our kids?
no, I don't know. No, what I don't think is that your tears are real, and I think that they turn on
Okay.
and turn off all the time.
Okay.
And I
But
really do
but
want to.
you
Can I
have
please
things,
speak?
but you have spent.
Can I
Let me
please
invite
speak?
you to my
Can I
house.
please speak, ma'am? Can I
How
please
can
speak?
you
Because I was
spend?
talking and you.
Go ahead.
Holy
Go
shit!
ahead.
Okay, hold on. Julie, let
But
me
you just
finish.
finished it. But you haven't spent
Julie,
48 hours taking care of
Julie,
a autistic
Julie,
child.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sorry, I don't want to shout you. I didn't think.
No
Can we
problem.
just like let each person speak and let the other person speak? So, A, we're not interrupting each other, and B, I don't want it to be like, which it won't be, a pile on. But just let each other speak, and then so we can keep it not over talking each other. So I didn't mean to like shout. Then I thought I was muted. Okay, just let True speak, and then when you can answer him, because otherwise it's just not good. Okay,
The
I'll
point
mute.
of what I'm trying to make is this: if you want to educate people, that is amazing. If you want to bring awareness to autism in all forms. My issue with you is putting his meltdowns on social media. You're taking it as I have an issue with all this other stuff. No, I have an issue with putting his vulnerable moments on social media for people to do what they do with it, right? Furthermore, you came up here and in the back chat, you said, can we have a conversation? But this hasn't been a conversation. This has been you come up here, push your agenda, your ideas, and everybody else is wrong. And I'm just curious, is there ever a time where you have a conversation with somebody and you actually listen to what they say, take it into consideration, and then maybe implement some of those things in your own life because maybe the entire world's not against you? I mean, honestly, because I think a lot of people do think you're a decent person, but then shit like this happens and it's like the sourest taste ever. And you don't want to take any criticism. Everybody else is wrong but you. And I do believe you have a good heart when it comes to autism, but there's certain things that I think if you just opened your mind to and you listen to other people and their perspective, because they're the audience that's consuming your content, maybe that would help you a little bit more.
I do that all the time, Truth. And you're not the first actual autistic who has criticized me and or any other profound autism parent. I'm not wanting to discount or speak over autistic people who speak for themselves. I'm trying to advocate for my son and a community of people who cannot speak for themselves. That's it. And I only ask that you do the same for me that you are asking, about have an open mind and things like that, and not get triggered by one video, which is one video out of hundreds of videos. And by the way, I never show my child on the 0.5% of videos where he's in a vulnerable moment, right? Of all the videos, I never show it without a resolution and discuss the resolution, because people think our kids will be like that all day long. They don't understand that it's just a moment in time. It's just a moment in their day when they're, which they'll think it stops. Like 10 minutes later, he's fine.
Hey,
he dysregulation.
Julie,
So I always explain it.
You're not going to get a word in.
I'm waiting patiently.
I
Good girl
understand
for
what you're
life,
saying.
waiting patiently.
Julie, I understand what you're saying, but I think that maybe you should try to advocate for the parents that are going through it instead of putting your son on the line. What he's saying is advocate for people
I
like
do
you
advocate for parents.
instead of putting
I
all
do.
of that out there. I understand. I have a baby that does the same thing, that melts down, that does all the things. I truly understand, and it is hard. It is so hard. I know that it is hard, and there is people that you feel like when you're going through it, you're alone, and it's not a good feeling to go through. And I understand that wholeheartedly. I'm going through it right now. My daughter's being autistic. She's being tested for all the things because we're going through it in our house right now. I understand what you're saying, but instead of advocating for the child per se out here online, why don't you make a community of parents that are going through it with you, so that people like me have a community to go to? When I don't know what to do.
It's on TikTok. It's on TikTok. It's on TikTok, and I'm only speaking basically to parents or somebody who loves somebody specifically, but my support needs autism.
But what I'm saying is, instead of putting I would never put my child, even if she was grown, online, because it's dangerous. And when people see those things, it's very triggering to them. So I understand where Trish coming from. He doesn't get to say if he wants to be online or not. He doesn't get a voice. And so when you do those things, it is exploiting. You're not meaning to, and I truly don't think you're meaning to exploit your kid. But that is what it is, because people see those things and they react to them.
Yeah, but also people feel a sense of validation when they see those things, and people start to learn that my son is more than his disability.
I agree with that too.
A well-rounded child, that he has interests, that he's lovable, and it humanizes him.
I agree with that. I understand. I agree with what you're saying. I truly don't know. I don't know the answer to other questions. I do think that what Trish is saying, I know Trish, he's coming from a very good place. He's a really good person.
I'm not saying
I know, but just listen to me. He's not coming from a place of evilness. He's not like that. He's telling you from his own experience growing up in society that what you're doing isn't helpful to that child. It is helpful to parents that are going through it, and they have people like them that can relate. But when it comes to the other part, what he's saying is he's not telling you that hurts your feelings. He can be a jerk, but he truly has a huge heart. I'm telling you.
I think he's also looking at it through his own lens, which is, this makes other autistic people look bad, or who are not people with intellectual disabilities, who can speak, who can do these things, and it makes us all look bad.
Yeah, but maybe his lens is the lens that we need to look through. You see what I'm saying? Because he has went through it. But we're going through something different than what they are.
He can talk for himself. I don't ever want to talk over him or silence him. But I also think that my child deserves representation as well.
And I get that. I
But
do
when you use it for your content, not when you exploit the way you have, in my opinion, with some of those videos. And Jolie, I have watched you. I have went through your TikToks and stuff, your YouTubes. I have watched. You need to sometimes just take a step back, take a deep breath, and maybe listen to someone else. You're not always right, and you don't know it all, but you won't just chill for a minute and listen to nothing else. And that's why you're in the position you're in with the Sebastian Rogers case. You
Okay.
came on one way, one road. That was it.
You do realize the autism diagnosis was a very new thing for Sebastian and his family, the family that is very able to advocate, put the information out for him as he is there.
Uh-huh.
You know, and you also do realize that Sebastian had a chromosome deletion.
Yes.
So that would cause intellectual challenges. So
I don't know that I don't know enough about that chromosome deletion syndrome if it would cause intellectual disabilities, which is different than like learning processing problems.
Hold on a second. So let me understand this correctly. You are speaking on a matter, i.e. Sebastian Rogers, and yet you haven't even done the necessary research to understand what the 6.5 chromosomal deletion
I
is.
understand it, but I don't know how it manifests itself in every person.
Well, it's not that it's within all people. It's not like autism and different. It is a clinical diagnosis that is it's
Right, and
I mean,
it has some. I did research it, and it does have some things that mimic symptoms.
It's not that it only mimics it, ma'am. It is assumed, and it is being scientifically studied right now, that chromosomal deletion on multiple strands, 6, 7, and 8, could very well be possibly the cause of autism. So, as an autism advocate, I would hope that you would know those research studies that are going on right now.
I know that there's
Here we go.
research studies. I haven't researched. I have looked at the chromosomal deletion syndrome. I do understand that there are symptoms of the chromosomal deletion syndrome that can mimic the symptoms of autism. That's it. That's what I know.
But Sebastian's autism was just recently diagnosed.
Yes, but I also know. I mean, what do you want me to say about that? What's the point of saying that to me? Like that he was only recently diagnosed. I think the family felt that a lot of his. It's possible, I should say, that the family felt some of his behaviors were due to chromosomal deletion syndrome, and
I guess
or it's possible that they had moved, across the country, and they were set up in a new school, and it takes time for an IEP to go through, and it takes time for autism testing to go through. And by the time they actually did it, they were addressing the behaviors based on the deletion and not autism, which are almost identical in 7 out of 10 structural dynamics, right? So they're very similar. They mimic anything. I would assume it probably didn't even change the IEP because they were already dealing with those issues in that as it is. So that's, I think, what people's issue is you're mixing your son's autism with Sebastian's autism while not doing research on Sebastian's background, while representing that you have all this information, and then you do research on FS or SF and get it wrong. And so people aren't believing you anymore.
She's got the wrong on the problem with
Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to get across. Thank you so much for saying my words, Truth.